You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Let's get spooky. You found Earth Station Boo, where horror lives, legends linger, and laughs are always waiting. Stay with us. You know you're dying to listen. And welcome to the Spooky Cookie and podcast of Earth Station Boo, where we talk all things horror. Introducing your horror-colic host with the most emos. We have our kick-ass Karen.
What up, my horrorholics?
I am your terrifying T, and today we are joined by our friend Thomas, who has been on the show before. Hello, Thomas.
Hello. I'm so glad to be here. I'm wearing a little Lord Fauntleroy outfit, and I've got a big lolly. So I'm the ultimate creepy kid here.
Yeah, you are. And we are going to be talking about creepy kids and horror. So let's get spooky.
AI promo start. Podcast name, please.
What?
Thank you. Podcast what? Topic, please.
It's not what?
Podcast what? Topic, not what.
That's not it at all. You've got the name wrong.
Correction. Name is spelled. Please give correct letter.
Well,
Correct letter is I. Podcast is not what. Podcast is nitwit.
Oh, brother.
Brother is also a nitwit.
We're the Monkey Around Podcast.
We talk about the monkey.
We're on YouTube and podcast platforms.
AI promo ended. Podcast nitwit on the ESO network.
Are you a horroraholic? Then take your horror obsession beyond the podcast. Check out Earth Station Boo's merch store for killer designs to let the world know that you live for the scares. You can also join our Discord and hang out with fellow little ghouls, talk monsters, movies, and midnight madness. And if you want to support the show directly, visit our throne to keep the screams and laughs coming. Find everything in our link tree, and remember, stay spooky. All right. So before we dive in really quick, because it's been a hot minute since you've been on last, Thomas, do you want to reintroduce yourself to our listeners?
Sure. Yeah. My name is Thomas. I have a podcast called Cinema to the Letter, where we cover all sorts of movies, but we do cover horror a lot of the times. And I'm a big horror fan. I'm one of those classic people who grew up initially a scaredy cat and then became much more of a horror fan. I think, creepy kids were a big part of that, because I remember especially being scared like The Shining, which is I'm sure is a movie we'll be talking about tonight. Oh, and just like creepy nightmare children were always one of the many things I feared going down, the video store shelves in the horror section.
Yeah, definitely. All righty. So to define what is the creepy kid, so it is a trope that is used quite a bit in horror. It's something deeply unsettling about a child who never acts like one. They're either like too composed, too observant, too comfortable with the spooky and kooky. Their laughter usually echoes in a weird, second too long kind of way. Their eyes seem not correct. A lot of them seem to be many years older than their years, and as if something ancient is within the child, definitely kind of just hiding behind an innocent face. The creepy child doesn't need to scream or strike; they just simply exist, kind of like waiting for, like, with impossible patience, and that little bit of like an eerie smile that just kind of sets you on edge, that kind of says that, that you already know how you're going to die. So let's kind of dive in. Karen, do you want to kind of like hit some of like the major like history moments of like the creepy kid trope?
Are you talking about like the kids that are defined as creepy kids, or are we talking about
like major history stuff? So like folklore, influence, post-war stuff, then how it kind of enters into film and stuff like that.
I mean, with the history of creepy kids, you have to think of like the religious beliefs, the ancient folklore. You have to think of possession and trauma all in one. I know in folklore, especially with Irish folklore, you have your concept of changelings. And if you don't know what a changeling is, it's basically the belief of a fae switching out a real baby with their baby so their baby can live like a nice, prosperous life. That is so creepy.
They are.
And then, if you talk about like the religious version of it, like for me, when it comes to religion and children, it's not good to mix because children are like the entities.
Yeah.
But when you think about, if a child dies without being baptized, it gets really, they're like, their soul goes to hell. And I'm like, what? Don't do that to children.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you have to think about the, implications of religion and corruption. But when you think about it a little bit, especially when you talk about The Exorcist and Damien.
Yeah.
Damien?
And the
Omen. That you see where the religious aspects come. I don't believe Satan is that evil. I just think he's just like an agitator.
I mean,
just a scamp, really.
Yeah. I mean, you have all these, and then you look at the modern day stuff. With kids with modern day stuff, they can be kind of creepy psychologically. I mean, one of the creepy kids, she's not really a kid per se, like Orphan. Esther from Orphan, she's not really a kid, but she is in a kid body.
Mm-hmm.
The psychological terror of that, like if I look like a 12-year-old, but I'm actually a 60-year-old woman, but I look like a 12-year-old. You know how psychologically damaged that as a person taking care of a 12-year-old, thinking that the child's 12, but it's not really 12. They don't age. That's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Grief. That kid from Babadook.
Yep.
That little boy pisses me off.
What are some other examples of like kids in horror? Because I mean, like obviously, like folklore and religion, like had their stories and like heavily influenced it all, and then it went into film and other medias. But like, list off a few different kids, and then we're gonna like get into our thoughts about these creepy kids.
I mean, with The Shining, we have the twins, and you have that little boy, Danny. I never really like thought they were creepy. I mean, a lot of people thought they were creepy. I was like, they're
the twins were. The twins were.
I mean, if you think about it, identical twins can be creepy on themselves because they have that twin speak, and one twin knows what's happening to the other twin. That's creepy on itself. I just thought the twins were like it is twins, being creepy because they're twins. I mean,
yeah, but like, I don't know, maybe because I know too many twins that it's like something was odd about them.
I mean, were they identical twins or were they fraternal twins?
They were identical.
See, identical twins can be creepy because like you don't know.
It was the stare.
Well, they stared at you a lot.
Oh no, not the real twins. The twins in The Shining.
Oh, I don't care. Like I've seen creepier stares. Okay.
I know. I'm just saying the twins in The Shining were creepy, and it was because of their stare.
Hot take. I concur with Shannon about they're fucking creepy in that movie. Yeah.
No, I thought they were just cute little kids. I mean, I thought they were cute little kids because
but you also play with them. Come play with us. That's all they're asking for. That's all.
I would play with them because I'm creepy too.
Aren't we all on some degree?
And then you have those cute creepy like Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think most people gravitate towards Wednesday because she's not that creepy that you want to stay away from.
Mm-hmm. Unlike the Children of the Corn.
You know what? Let's not talk about the Children of the Corn, okay? Let's not talk about Malachi and all those because I can't go to a cornfield to this day.
Oh, you would not have made it in Illinois. I went to college one semester in Illinois, and it's nothing but cornfields. And I have peed in way too many cornfields. And Thomas is like, this is information I did not need to know.
If you look at my face, I lived in Wichita, Kansas, and there was nothing but cornfields. Right? I never went to a cornfield because you know why? My brother was walking all the time. He was like, yeah, there's nothing but cornfields here. You're not going in the cornfield. Okay.
It's easy to get lost in them.
And, Isaac, little dude from Children of the Corn, he's very charismatic. Okay.
I know that you really like a lot of Japanese horror. Let's
talk about some of these Japanese kids. We have Toshiro. You have Toshiro from The Grudge or Joan. He is the creepiest little thing. I know he died a tragic death, but just to see him peering out through some bars of the staircase and saying his name, Toshiro, Toshiro, that is creepy as shit. Okay, I don't know why people are like, oh, well, I don't know why we're here. Let's save this child. Number one, let's not save this child. Okay. If you especially pale skin looking at your ass, no. Okay.
Throw him down
And
those
then you have
stairs that he's
Samara.
speaking over. Throw him down there.
I mean, yeah. And then you have Samara
Mhm.
from Ringu. Again, a creepy child.
Yeah.
With the hair. I almost like cosplayed her because I had like the long hair. But then I realized I don't want to scare these kids because we were
Do
doing a
it.
haunted house. But I was like, I
Do
don't want
it.
to scare these kids because, you know, I want them
I'm
to come
just
back.
mean, and I'm like, scare all the children.
Let's not scare all the children.
I want to scare all the
Um,
children. I'm joking. I'm joking. So this is a nuanced topic. And so when you guys heard what this topic was going to be, what were your thoughts? And Thomas, you get to go first on this.
Yeah, I mean, I was curious about this because there's a fair amount of like pretty, like, upsetting, creepy kid movies. I made like a letterboxd list of those. And I think like the two big ones while I was just like looking back and doing research, there seems to be two types, right? There's the malicious ones who would like
Mhm.
want to inflict violence and are like, might be doing it under their own volition or they're doing it under possession, like your Children of the Corn or The Exorcist. And then you've got the ones where it's like they're well-meaning, but they just give off a creepy vibe.
Mhm.
And I think of like, Danny in The Shining, I think has that. There's Tomas from The Orphanage is a big one
Mhm.
that I think of in this regard. Even speaking to like The Ring, there's Samara who's more like the malicious. And there's also Aiden,
Yeah.
the woman, especially in the American remake,
Remake,
Naomi
yeah.
Watts' kid, who is like a well-meaning like kid who's like gone through a lot, but also he's so fucking creepy. I don't want to be
Yeah.
near that kid.
Totally fair.
Yeah. So I think you
Totally
guys
fair.
are missing.
I don't mind creepy kids.
I think you guys are missing like one crucial one though, in terms of the history. What I would argue is like maybe the origin point of this and was a movie I watched in research for this, The Bad Seed from the 50s.
Yeah. No, The Bad Seed's a great one.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the text for a lot of those kind of movies, especially like it's been so interesting watching that movie now, where it's like the whole movie is that mom trying to be like, no, 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 she's not, no, she's totally fine, don't worry about it. And it's like, no, the metal and all that other stuff. It's like, nah, this kid's just. I love that like they have the psychologist scene. It's just like, oh, some people just think kids are fucking rotten to the core from the jump, just the seed from the jump. They are evil.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, that movie. Okay, I was sitting here
Yeah.
thinking about what the fuck. Because I remember, creepy kids from The Good Son with Elijah Woods and Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
That was some
Yeah.
creepy. Like Macaulay Culkin was creepy as shit. Okay.
He was good at creepy. I honestly would love to see him in more horror. I think he would do great.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's just he doesn't do movies that often in general.
Yeah.
At this point,
He's very much of the I'm retired. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm.
But I think he would do a really great job in horror movies. Karen, what were your
Yeah, he
initial
would.
thoughts when we picked this topic?
I was like, oh, there's gonna be a whole lot of lists of creepy kids we could talk about. Shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because as people who watch horror, our love for horror, you could have creepy kids, creepy adults, creepy monsters, but kids are like, the creepiest because you don't think children could be, you don't want to put
Yeah.
children in a position where they'll see violence and whatnot. You don't want them to get hurt because it's very rare to see, back in the 70s, there was a time where you didn't want, there was a rule that you couldn't kill children on screen, but you had it every so often
Yeah.
because children are innocent,
Mhm.
Nowadays it's like, oh shit, kill the bitch, kill that child,
Right?
because they're so.
I mean, even though The Bad Seed does spoilers, like they changed the ending intentionally from the book, where it's
They
like, no,
did.
we gotta kill that. We have to literally strike that kid with lightning at the very end of the movie.
I mean, yeah. So, but the thing is, like, children death, we don't like to see it because children are innocent. But nowadays, it's like, everyone dies.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone dies.
Yeah.
It's like, I love my creepy children. I can't believe I said that.
I'm
Because
clipping it.
I love my creepy children. My little children. Because there's so many of the creepy kids that most people don't think of creepy. Like Thomas said, you have the malevolence of the children who do things because they can and want to. And then you have like the good kids who are like, even though I'm creepy, I'm trying to help your ass out here.
Yeah.
Stop trying to, slow my roll.
Yeah.
Here. Let me help you. Help me. I mean, even creepy kids are AI generated, like Megan, creepy as fuck. because she
Yep.
looked too much like a child. And then, you know, how you have the Red Queen from the Resident Evil series. You have like a whole range of creepy kids that you don't even think of as creepy kids. Hell, the kid from Deliverance was kind of creepy. Okay?
Lilith in
Yeah.
Supernatural.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, that kid's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he here? He's here for a reason. Even with, you know, it's a good topic because you want to see how many creepy kids there are because, you know,
there is a surprising amount of creepy kid horror movies. Like, I brought this topic up to like one other person. I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna be doing this topic, and they're like, so like what, like 5 movies? And I'm like, no. Would you like me to pull up the list that IMDb has? And then I'm like, here's 100, and I know it's missing a few. They're just
because
they're like, I didn't realize there were that many, and I'm like, yeah, no, there's a ton.
There's like over
of creepy
like
kid horror
100
movies. Yeah, I mean,
there's 11 Children of the Corn movies alone.
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how many you can make. I mean, it's the same storyline.
I mean, I think kids are creepy anyways.
We all know this, except for your nieces. You love your niece because you don't think she's creepy. Just like I love my nieces, but they're creepy too.
Can be creepy. Look, I'm not a fan of kids, and we know this. However, I think most kids in horror movies are creepy on some level, but I think it's even creepier that they're put into these things. I'm just like,
yeah, because like I said, you don't want to see children like get put in a situation where you're like,
I don't want to see children. Like, I'm good. But I knew that like this would be like a fun topic because there's a lot of creepy kids, and so like let's get these kids out there. Let's come talk about them. When it comes to the history of creepy kids in cinema, how do you guys feel like it has evolved? Do you guys think it's done well?
I mean, I think
thoughts.
I think they're done well. It depends on like the child actor that you get, because you know some children can make it or break it. Because if you get the wrong child actor, you're like, oh fuck, that does not translate well. Of course, I haven't seen any like movies that had like bad children actors. I mean, the Pet Cemetery one with the Gage. I'm like, why do you have a little kid in here? He when he went to whole creepy level, I was like, oh, that is going to be a star.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And trying to get like a whole bunch of kids to like the Village of the Damned, the first one and the second one, the first one and the remake, having all kids to be as creepy as them was a feat. Okay. Because children, have different personalities, but until you get them all on the same page, it can either make or break the movie.
Yeah.
I believe there could be like more children horror movies. Hell, you could have a whole horror movie with children in it. I think they did like a series, like TV series with the zombies. I'm like talking about kids, like,
But yeah, and then there's So, I mean, for me, it's definitely interesting because you can kind of sense that like there's, the earlier ones tend to be like, oh, these kids are like rotten from the jump. They're like some evil entity that isn't really a kid, like Village of the Damned, like Bad Seed, kind of go for that vibe. And then you've got like The Exorcist's real turning point that I think is still affecting horror movies as recent as like Lee Cronin's The Mummy is just still doing exorcist stuff where it's just like, oh, we see this initial like cherubic child who is like so pure and then is corrupted by this demonic force. And I feel like a lot of movies kind of go for that. And then there's like other just weird examples. Like there's the 70s movie Alice, Sweet Alice, which I hadn't seen until recently. And that's a weird example too, where like the main sort of like creepy kid there, who's played by Paula Shepherd, she was 19 and she's playing 12, which just makes it feel creepy. Because she has like the proportions of like a small child, but she's clearly like an adult with like a deeper voice. And it's so odd. And with that movie, I won't spoil it because it's an older movie, maybe not many people have seen. But
you can spoil here.
They haven't seen Alice, Sweet Alice. It's their fault.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We're very much of the, unless it's brand new.
Okay.
You've had time to watch it. It's not on us.
Sure, yeah. But anyway, yeah, but that movie, like, she's a red herring for like the actual killer, which is Italian grandma, which, really deeply offended me as an Italian man, that you'd have a mama do that. But Paula Shepherd is still so creepy even after that reveal happened. She's so
Yeah.
like so fucking unnerving that entire movie, and it's a really great sort of, especially that movie's a weird kind of like middle ground between slasher and giallo because it's pre Halloween, but right in the middle of like the Argento kind of stuff, and that movie's a great example of just like having like a kid who's like not technically guilty of anything, but is still just like unsettling to be around.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, definitely people have moved through how to make kids even creepier. Like you get it to where like they become the actual monsters, like let the right one in and like all that kind of stuff, where it's like, oh, you're just letting a little kid in. Nah, you're letting in a vampire.
They knew that. I mean, a lot of people don't know they're vampires.
But that's the point I'm trying to make is that like it's a kid. It's a creepy kid, and they let the creepy kid into their house. Like
my dumb ass be like letting the black-eyed children in my house. Cause my dumb ass.
see, that's how you're gonna go.
Would you like some toffee, little demonic child?
Yeah.
With my 20 million cats sitting by me. Like, come here, child.
I mean, especially with let the right one in, you don't want to be around weird kids and cats in that scenario.
Exactly. But I mean, you went from kids who just kind of like stood awkwardly in the corner and gave you a weird stare to, now truly being like that, like horrific monster with like the innocent little face and everything in between. So what do you think creepy child characters reveal about our fears of innocence, of parenting, of generational trauma, and whether evil is born or made? Thomas, do you want to start us on that one?
Yeah, I think with that kind of different that kind of element of it, there's interesting kind of thing where it's like a lot of the time it's what, like we said, like children are like possessed, right? That you have like your exorcist where it's like, oh, a child's like kind of corrupted, and then you've got weird ones where like a kid has like a power and they're like kind of unsettling. Like I think of Jennifer Connelly in Phenomena, who is just kind of like she's not even like super creepy, she just has a weird vibe that you're kind of like, well, I'm not sure how much of this is like upbringing versus like whatever influence. And even like, you've got something like Pet Cemetery, which is like the father trying to bring back the innocent child, but instead bringing back this like weird, be careful what you wish for, corrupted version of his son. And I think, it's just this weird thing where it's a lot of like, oh, how much of this is like, how the parents raised them or how parents allowed them to have like weird things. Or even there's a really weird one that I really like called The Pit from like the early 80s.
Oh, yeah.
That's like about like a kid who's like on the verge of puberty. And it's kind of insinuating that like, oh, it's like this kid was kind of like unsettling and weird and had very particularly weird views of like women and how to like and other people in general. So it's like, oh, how about I like throw them in my special pit with my monsters and feed my monsters kind of thing, where it's like almost like because he's starting to get like a sense of like, oh, I kind of like, that puberty is settling in with him. So it's like, oh, this kid getting out. He was already kind of a weird kid, but then puberty just ramps up how fucked up this weird little kid is.
I mean, puberty does that to all of us at some point.
Unless it makes you stink too.
Right? Karen, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts of like, creepy kids. Yeah, this is what I have to say. Like, I'm not a parent, but as I watch my nieces grow, I fear that I'm failing them as an adult sometimes. Because that's what, watching, creepy kids and horrors, I'm like, I'm going to raise my child not to be like that kid. I'll raise my child not to be like that kid. But in the end, you just have to leave everything to fate. Like that movie, Let's Not Talk About Kevin. Because, the parents did everything right. You could do everything right.
Yeah.
And then you still have like a child that comes out like, Kevin. And that creepy kid from Halloween, the Rob Zombie's Halloween. It shows you that, nature versus nurture, and his was like nurture, and he came out to be like a creepy kid who grew up to be a creepy adult, stalker adult who, killed a lot of people. But the thing is with, like I said, it with kids, you want to do good by them, but also you want them to be like better than their parents in every single way, want their innocence to be intact, but at the same time, you know that their innocence is not going to be intact because once you get into the real world is going to fuck you up worse than anything else,
Yeah.
worse than a horror movie. And then, you know, you're trying to not relive the trauma of your childhood to like be imprinted on your children, like
Yeah.
disciplinary stuff, way your mother or father acted. And then you don't want to be like, you know, be the same thing to your kids
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, why are you crying? I'll give you something to cry about. Oh my God, I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I'm like my parents. You don't
Mm-hmm.
want the trauma of your childhood to be like a trauma onto your kid's childhood. But, you know, every day is a fear for your children. I will never have children because I can't have kids, but I see the fear in all adults when they're raising their kids because you don't want your kids to be, you know, born evil or raised to be evil. You want your children to be raised as responsible adults who have make good decisions in their life.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, sometimes, you know, one thing or the other, you just have to like believe that you did a good job as a parent and hope your child doesn't come up as a creepy child in a horror movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just hope my children don't end, my nieces don't end up like the kid from Babadook.
Right.
Right, where that kid technically isn't evil, but also just like is a nightmare to deal with.
Still creepy
like-
and still a pain in the butt.
He's still a pain. Like, I mean, he's not, you know, evil or good. He's just creepy in a sense that you want to, you know, make him, you want him to behave. Okay. The backseat scene where he's screaming like that, you're like, I never had a child do that. You know, what is setting you off to scream like that? You creepy little child. Stop it. Like, I couldn't have been the mother. Like, the blackness of my ancestors will come out and be like, I will give you something to cry about. And then I'll be like, I can't believe I let my parents come through me like that.
Mhm.
Oh my God. But that child needed discipline. I don't care what anybody says. He needed something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sitting there screaming at me, motherfucker. Mm-mm.
What I think creepy characters kind of reveal when it comes to our fears, especially for us who are of the parenting age, we think about like the things that maybe we disliked about like our parents and how they parented us and how we are a product of our parents and the things that
Very much so.
sometimes the things that we don't like about ourselves are what we don't like about our parents and we know where we get it from. Like some of the things that I don't like about myself are some of the things that I know that I get from my mom and that are things that my mom does that drive me up a wall. But it's one of those deals of like having my own child and then passing that on to the child. Like it's like to that level. But then like when you get the creepy kids in these movies, you're like, am I the reason this kid is evil? Like some of the movies that makes you think that. Some of them, it's like you're like, this kid is obviously possessed. But there's a lot to it. I feel like in a lot of the movies, it takes on a very like primal instincts that people have for kids and turns it against you. And I think it works. But at the same time, it is so unnerving. Absolutely unnerving.
Yeah, I think there's also another thing where it's like certain fears are like about institutions corrupting children, right? Because there's like, I think a really great example of like the, you know, the creepy kid that still is like that, but I have so much aching, tragic sympathy for them is the Santi character in The Devil's Backbone, which I think it's especially lost amongst like the, you know, the Guillermo del Toro like horror stuff, where it's that's very much a child who was like completely abandoned by, you know, like this orphanage and eventually like this whole kind of like, you know, society that's crumbling because of a Spanish war that's happening. And you just get like this like haunted memory of just like how we fail our children, even on just like a societal level, as opposed to even just the more intimate level you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many levels to it. Like, you know, how many, like, there's been a couple that where it's the teacher that is having to deal with the creepy child. You know, there's like things where it's like, it's a complete stranger that's having to deal with the child. So it's not even like a one-on-one thing. But yeah, I just think it's interesting. And I like how a lot of the creepy kid horror movies, they don't just tackle, oh, the child was born evil, but it does also show a lot of the child was made evil. So I feel like there's a good balance of the two. So you don't ever feel like it's always one way or the other, you know? How has the creepy child become one of horror's kind of most recognizable and enduring archetypes? Like, this is something that, like, as we stated, like, back to like the atomic age, or even further than that, part of the golden age, you've had creepy kids in these horror movies. So, like, going all the way back, like, how do you think it's become this way? Who wants to go first?
Well, I mean, I kind of like spoke about it earlier a bit with like, I think the biggest sort of like indicator of like the big wave that would happen is like The Exorcist. Like Exorcist, I feel is like the biggest sort of thing where it's like in the 50 plus years since The Exorcist has come out, we got so many different like weird ripoffs that, you know, or some are more obvious than others, right? I would say like a Firestarter or Children of the Corn, like a lot of Stephen King is influenced by someone like The Exorcist. But then you also have just like weird fun ones. Like, have you guys seen Kathy's Curse?
Yes.
That movie's so fun, stupid.
I think it was on Tubi.
That's just such a great example where they get like a little girl to like stare blankly and say like curse words so often. And it's so ridiculously silly. But then, yeah, I think it's just been a thing that's kind of endured, especially. And then I think like Children of the Corn started another wave of that, which I want to put this out here on this horror podcast. And I feel like I'm safely here with friends.
Yes.
I thought this when I saw this movie as a child, being fearful of the concept. I thought this like 8 years ago when I saw it again in adulthood, and I thought of it like about 2 weeks ago when I rewatched it for this particular episode. I think that movie sucks. I think Children of the Corn is a very bad, overrated movie.
That's fair.
That I think kicked off a lot of interesting things afterward. But I think that movie is like, it starts off really cool with like that opening bit where the kids are like murdering a bunch of people at the diner. And then after that, it is so boring. And we spent so much time with Linda Hamilton and that blonde asshole who's like one of the worst actors I've ever seen in a movie. And it's so boring. But I think you can see like other movies that kind of take that influence and sort of like adopt it, especially to kind of like more modern fears of this kind of corruption. Like a really good modern one is When Evil Lurks.
Yeah.
The Spanish movie. That movie is gnarly. And I think does a great job of mixing in both very cute, innocent kids being horribly murdered and also kind of like with the ending of that movie, the like kid being like birthed out of like that one corpse, basically.
Yeah.
Sort of like the new Antichrist and stuff like that. There's like it's an interesting thing where it's like, I think it's a lot of what we're talking about, where it's a mix of, the worries of like what we put upon our children, but also what like a new generation could spawn. I think that's even, you know, as much as like these kids are creepy in like weapons, I think that's the thing that movie like harnesses very well. That's like, these kids who are like very like naturally like we see them like run out at the opening of the movie, like, what happened, what corrupted them. But I mean, what I like about that movie, especially with the reveal of like Aunt Gladys and everything, is that like that whole movie is basically about like a very old woman wanting to cling on, like a boomer, if you will, trying to cling on to life by sucking it out of like the children, and the children take their revenge. And I think that's so rad. That it's just like, yeah, like we can have like these creepy kids who are corrupted, but then if you try to corrupt children at the same time, it's like, I don't know, they're like smaller than you and they have a lot more energy and they will literally tear you apart. I just think that's another interesting evolution of it.
Okay, that Weapons reminds me of a Dean Koontz book, almost kind of the same vein as that.
I feel like somebody else had said that. I feel like I read a review where they said it reminded them of the Dean Koontz book.
Yeah, because it's like, if I remember correctly, because I read it a long time ago, it's like this doctor was taking the souls of children and giving it to the older people who wanted to live longer, and the kids started to rise up and destroy the people who, it was, they were ripping them apart. All these kids were ripping these people apart, getting their souls back, and it was like creepy and bloody, disgusting, and so satisfying.
So rule is leave kids alone.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're good.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with the children and you're good.
The kids are all right. The kids are all right. Just don't mess with them.
Just leave them be.
Right. I mean, the archetype of creepy kids is, it's been going on since the 50s, really. And it got kind of ramped up. It ramped up, with The Exorcist, with the Poltergeist, with everything. And sometimes you get a whole lull and then it goes back into being creepy kids and then it goes into a lull and then you go back into creepy kids. Because they're a good archetype to use. Because like I said, you don't want children to be like, corrupted. But at the same time, as a person like me, I'm like, let's see how corrupted you could be. Some kids are raised to be bad seeds, and some kids, even though they're raised right and properly, it's in their, nature to be evil.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you look at the both Halloween movies, one was naturally evil.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know why he killed these people. He just did it. And in Rob Zombie's version, it was his environment that raised him to be like that.
I mean, if we learned anything about serial killers, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, some of the serial killers can have like the best lives ever. And you're like, oh, and then you become a serial killer. What the fuck?
Yeah. And then others, you're like, that was literally the only path for them.
Yeah, that's the only path for them.
Yeah, no, I think I kind of said it in the last kind of topic we talked about, but I think because of the primal instinct that we as humans have to protect the youths, I think creepy kids and horror is gonna it's everlasting. It's something that will constantly be there because that is just an innate part of who we are as humans. But I think on top of that, there's always going to be that false sense of security of it's an innocent child. Like you look at the kid and you're like, it's just a kid. And then like, nah. Nope, it is not. It is not just an innocent kid.
A good example of that, another good one is another like weird cult early 80s movie, Bloody Birthday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where it's just like these kids who are like, they're born at the weird particular time, kind of like Village of the Damned. Like, they're born at this weird particular time when like Saturn is in retrograde or whatever the hell. And they all end up just being like rotten to the core, just from the jump. And it results in just all these people are just like, don't worry about them. They're so cute. There's nothing's gonna happen. That one kid like shoots people and shit like it's crazy. That movie is so weird.
Yeah. And I mean, even like movies like, what is it called? We reviewed it. It was the summer camp one.
Sleepaway Camp?
Sleepaway Camp. That's it.
Yeah.
Sleepaway Camp. I'm like, come on. It's right there. Yeah. Sleepaway Camp. Like this child didn't even know what it was doing. Like they like legit were having like these blackouts and didn't really come to understand what they were doing. And is it creepy? Absolutely. But you still feel for them. And it's something that's good, like everlasting. Like it's one of those deals of like, you can't be mad. I
mean, especially in that case where it's like, you're being raised by a weird demented like Dr. Seuss lady who's just like, I hope there's a whole bag. I'm a doctor, It's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Right? Absolutely insane. Okay, so question for y'all. What do you think is a big misunderstanding when it comes to creepy kids and horror that like you guys hear like a lot of people talk about? Thomas, do you want to start?
I mean, I think a lot of it tends to be, less maybe what people talking about it and more just with certain filmmakers like trying to adapt like that concept. I think some of them, like I think Children of the Corn, one of my bigger problems is that like that movie has the idea of like, children in numbers are so scary, but at the same time there kind of is a defense about like, we don't want to show too many of like the smaller kids being creepy. Like they have those two kids that are supposed to be like the angels or whatever, who are like, we're so sad that we can't possibly do that. And you have like, they tend to like for the older kids like Isaac or Courtney Gaines' character.
Yeah.
Like, no, the older kids are what's really upsetting, and they're just like leading these kids around as opposed to like, I think it's more like upsetting if you have kind of like, these younger kids that do it. I think another one that kind of did that problem for me is like Lee Cronin's The Mummy, where they have just like, this like kid is like gone for a while and then comes back and is like more of like an Evil Dead kid than like even an Exorcist thing. And I think that's where you kind of lose, like when you lose too much of like the childlike innocence that's being corrupted, I think you end up resulting in like something that's not nearly as like interesting. Or there's also some like Exorcist Believer, where it's like, we're going to kind of do the same thing again, but how are we going to like try and one up it? It's like, there's two of them? And it's like, you got to do more than just, there's two of them now.
Yeah.
It's like, shit, everything's changed. It feels like, the better ones of these tend to kind of have it be like like there's a when you have like the smaller the kid is, the more unnerving, like Gage in Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
Or like Miko Hughes was like what, 3 years old or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
going around like a little
I
zombie or
don't
whatever.
wanna be buried in a pet cemetery.
Cemetery. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to make a Ramones break there. We say Pet Cemetery enough. We gotta do a Ramones break.
We've summoned Joey here to do the cover.
Right? Right? Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. I think that aging the characters, the age of the character definitely does determine it. Karen, what about you?
Yeah, but the thing is, he's like some writers either make the child older than they should be or younger than they should be, because it all depends on like the writing style. Because a lot of writers tend to misunderstand children a lot, anyways, because they either want to make them too old or too young, and you're like, that doesn't really work in this sense. Also, a lot of kids attacking a person. I'd probably be a lot afraid of a lot of kids attacking me. Cooties, the little zombie children from Cooties. Yeah. I haven't seen like the weapons, but a lot of masked children running after you. Fuck, that's creepy as shit.
Yeah.
But for me, the misunderstanding of creepy children is basically the writers not understanding how to appropriately make an age for a child. If their child is supposed to be 8 years old, don't give me a dialogue of a 30-year-old scholar. You know, I want this creepy child to be a creepy child. I want to see this creepy child grow up, or watch as it's slow as either the evilness slowly ebbs away into goodness, or the goodness slowly ebbs away into evilness. Like, give me something to work with.
The only thing I'd give you is the exception is possession. If it's possessed by something that is ancient, then it's allowed to speak in a very adult manner.
But at the same time, you do have some movies. You do have some movies where it's like, oh, they kind of like try to work around the kid. Like there's Demonic Toys, the original Demonic Toys.
Oh yeah,
they have the little kid, and they have to like dub him over with an adult's voice, and that ruins it. I think, which is like, you have a processed adult voice doing like the kid's dialogue. Especially, it doesn't help that you also have the kids saying things like, "Oh, then you two can do the nasty." It's like, I don't want any kid to say that. Just don't do that. It's not creepy. It's just like not something I want to hear.
Yeah, no, totally
unsettling. It's unsettling. Like, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Makes you feel creepy.
Don't get me wrong. Like, it's funny to hear kids cuss. However, certain terms, no. Which actually kind of leads me to like a next question I was gonna ask tonight. How do you guys feel about the ethics when it comes to creepy kid trope in visual media? Like, what are some like the pros and cons with it? Because obviously, like it's a creepy kid, it's scary, it's creepy, whatever. But if it's supposed to be a 6-year-old on a horror set doing horror things, like, is that good for the child who is playing the character? Like, those are some of the questions that are kind of coming up. Karen, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I believe it's the parents' duty to like be on the set with them, to set boundaries on like how much gore they want to expose their child to. Like in Sleepaway Camp, the girl who played Angela, Felicia,
yeah,
I think her name was
Felissa Rose.
The girl who played Angela, her mom was like, like her mom was like, I don't want her to be, in certain scenes. They had to use a body double, which was the actor that played Ricky. He was sort of kind of her body double.
And then also a different body double for that final shot as well. Yeah.
So it's like, you have to have boundaries as a parent, because if your parents like, you know what, go ahead, do what you want to do. What? No, I'm not going to let my child be over here, like, rummaging through blood and guts. No.
Yeah.
So it's the parent's responsibility to set the boundary, because you're signing your child up to be an actor/actress in Hollywood. You have to have that boundary of, if they're going to be in a horror movie, how far would you let them go into doing, violence, gore, and everything like that.
Even some of the lines.
Yeah. I'm like, when I hear some of the kids Even like not even in a horror movie saying lines. I'm like, oh, I would never let my child say that. The fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? That certain scene, I could see it. I could see it. But it's up to the parent for me to be on the set to be like, okay. And that's the right reason why we have like child labor laws in, Hollywood because of certain things that happened. Twilight that happened to
Yeah.
children. And so,
Yep.
like I said, I believe it's, the parents' responsibility. Not only is the parents' responsibility, but it's the adults, as adults around these children, they should be responsible for their safety, physically, mentally, and emotional health. And make sure, they're not, hurt in any way.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I'm sorry, that whole thing is still talked about to this day.
You don't have to apologize for that. No, fuck John Landis for that shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck you, Jan Landers. I mean,
Yeah.
poor kids.
Mm-hmm.
And also, the parents should be well versed in like reading contracts too.
Yeah. I mean, if you go into the industry, get a lawyer. Get a lawyer who will sit there and explain all that mumbo jumbo to you, because it's all about using the correct words in the correct order. But Thomas, what about you? What are your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, we've been kind of talking about that. Goes into a whole other like conversation, not just with horror in general, but just like the general like, should even child actors be a thing, which is often like discussed, especially as of late. And I mean, it's difficult because it's like I think there's a place for kids to be in these kind of movies, and you can create like a safe environment. Like Danny Lloyd has talked about this many times on the set of The Shining, which a movie that has a lot of controversy about the sets and how people were like kind of treated on there. He always said that like Stanley Kubrick never really exposed him to like the horror elements as much, and just kind of like coached him through it. Or even with weapons, like Zach Cregger, you see like great behind the scenes footage of him just like getting the kids giddy about like, oh, this is like a game, this is pretend, this is all like we're controlled in this environment, we're not trying to like scare you to any degree to like have you doing this stuff. And they cut around the kids as well, especially during like that gory finale. You notice that like you don't see the kids directly like actually just doing what they do to Gladys. I think it's definitely a thing of like, obviously as someone who does not have children at the same time, I think you can kind of like work around the kind of idea of like, this is like the kids have to understand like, this is make believe, this is fake, and we're just creating something that's like, like a fun, spooky vibe, as opposed to like, like I'm not really a fan of especially trying to like do kind of like more method things, especially, the speaking to The Exorcist, like William Friedkin has been like the kind of like some of the stuff you got on the set, whether it's Alan Burstyn or even like Linda Blair, you kind of see the effects of like some of these like child stars who unfortunately, go down pretty bad paths after they're not treated well. It's like Edward Furlong's a great example of that. We were talking about earlier. Yeah. Just like, it's definitely, I think, just a wider conversation about just, treating the kids well on set, regardless of the genre even.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the thing is, especially now with the technology that we have, there is no reason to put a child in a position where they are saying and doing things that is going to be detrimental to their long-term mental health. There's no reason for it. There truly is not. We have the technology. There's shoot from behind, use a dummy, use a stand-in. You don't have to have a child saying and doing certain things. I get it that impact-wise, some things might be better for the story overall, but at the end of the day, playing a role should not make that a demented individual in the future. Simple as that. And it's not just the first priority is the parents and making sure that that is the case. But every adult who is working on that project needs to be making sure that they're doing what's best for the minors that are on that set, and making sure that it is a safe work environment long term.
Right.
Because But I do appreciate a lot of the directors and a lot of the cast and crews that do make it a game and do make it.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
a safe and healthy environment where the people who are underage are able to express and do their job and be on the set without being traumatized, unlike some of the many actors and actresses from the past. All right. let's just name a couple of our favorite creepy children in horror, and which performances or characters still kind of creep you out and haunt you today. Thomas, you get to go first.
Well, I'll go ahead and just name a few because I know we're going to be doing a top 4 in a minute. So
Yeah.
I'll name some of the ones that aren't on the top 4.
There you go.
That show some of my honorable mentions for sure. I mean, we've talked around them a bit, but the kid who plays Damien, Harvey Stevens, in the original Omen, I think is such a great example where it's like that kid doesn't really do anything, but you just cut over to shots of him and you have the Jerry Goldsmith like satanic music playing, and you're like that kid is just unnerving. That kid is just like, oh, he's just standing there kind of smiling, like, get that thing away from me. No.
Yeah.
I don't want to be anywhere near it. But yeah, I mean, we've also talked about, you know, speaking to another, like a child actor who unfortunately went through a lot and recently passed, Davine Chase in The Ring. Samara, incredible performance, especially really like unnerving, beautiful, tragic performance there. Another one that's just fun, especially that I think is still stuck with me, is Sinister.
Okay.
Just the various creepy kids in Sinister, particularly one scene where Ethan Hawke is going through his house at night and the kids are just kind of like off to the side and kind of like messing with him as he's walking around. That's just real terrifying shit to me. Really great, stellar stuff there.
Okay. Karen, how about you?
For me, like what terrified me really to this day, I mean, I'll still watch it. The Good Son, Macaulay Culkin playing, you know, Henry Evans. That is just very creepy because he was a very smart child who used his intelligence to manipulate and just hurt people around him for the joy of it, because he was like, fuck, okay, I don't like you, little child. Another creepy kid that, you know, it sits with me because I was like, no, the little girl from Mama.
Oh yeah,
Lily, who like basically kills herself to be with Mama. That broke my heart, because I understood, like, you know, she wanted her own mother, her mother back, and yet this spirit person thing totally convinced her, you know, I am the one for you. You're my child. I will take care of you, but taking care of you unto death, that's And another one that recently came out, most people don't talk about it very much. I mean, Abigail from the movie Abigail, the vampire movie. I didn't know it was a vampire movie until it got to, like, you know, the shots of it. I was like, oh, okay. I'm thinking, you know, they just kidnapped this young girl and her parents are like going to come back and, you know, kill them because the parents are either mafia type peoples. I didn't know it was supernatural until it got to that part. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
And that actress played it really well.
No, she did. Even though they're teenagers, they were still kids to me, is the guys in the Lost Boys.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, technically they were teenagers. So, like, they're under 18, they're minors, but like they were still creepy, and they were that weird creepy where you're like, if you were an adult, you would just be a creep. But because you're kind of a kid, it's one of those like, are you awkward or are you creepy? I don't know.
and especially my favorite of the creepiest ones in there is Alex Winter, future Bill. Is like so weird, especially he's like a weird little cackling, like Southern California kid. Like, get the hell out of my face, man.
Right.
But he plays it so well.
Yeah,
he does. Yeah. He does. Yeah, The Children of the Corn is definitely one that sits with you, especially like the first time I watched it. I ended up going up north and visiting some family, and we went by the cornfields, and I'm just like, like, after you watch it, you don't look at cornfields the same way.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. You truly don't, and it's weird that you don't. And definitely Gage from Pet Sematary, like that one definitely is an unnerving, and that any rendition of that movie and or book always sits weird with me, because I hate when it's like, I guess like how I feel about animals is kind of how like a lot of people feel with kids. Where it's like, they're innocent, leave them alone, they're just sweet babies. Like, why do you have to corrupt them that way? But
because it happens.
It does, unfortunately. So let's go.
One more creepy person. One more creepy. Hereditary, Charlie.
Oh yeah. I didn't even
especially when she does
Hereditary. Damn. Okay.
When she makes that sound, I was like, oh.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
That sounds, I'm like, every time I
Yeah.
hear it, I'm like, Charlie?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go ahead and do our personal rankings. Thomas, you get to go first. Who are your top 4 creepiest kids?
So I'm gonna go from bottom up. I'm gonna go number
Okay.
4 is a movie I'm surprised no one brought up yet, but I think it's just a really unnerving one. The children from David Cronenberg's The Brood, I think are
Yeah.
incredibly unsettling, and especially the scene that happens in the kindergarten classroom. I
Mm-hmm.
think is one of the most upsetting like scenes I've ever seen, where it's just like this woman is being like murdered by these 2 kids, and all the other children who are in there have no recourse to like defend her. They are just
Yeah.
watching as this woman gets like murdered by these 2 weird, gnarly, the Brood kids, and it's really upsetting. And it's one of my favorite like horror scenes in anything. Number 3, even though I just watched it recently for this, Rhoda in The Bad Seed, I think
Okay.
is like she's the progenitor, but I think at the same time she just has like Patty McCormick, who I didn't realize was nominated for an Oscar for that movie, which is
Yep.
crazy. But she's incredible in it, especially because it's like she has the perfect like girl with the pigtails skipping around, like
Mhm.
kind of nature to her, so that when she comes back, she's like, "Oh yeah, I did, fight with that kid, and I made sure he went down and died horribly in that river because I wanted the medal. He didn't earn that medal." I'm like, damn, this kid just it
Right.
makes you believe just like, no, this kid like from the jump just terrifying, awful.
Oh, yeah.
Then my number 2 is Danny Torrance in The Shining, who I feel is like the key example to me of like the well-meaning kid who just has like a lot of stuff going on with like abusive dad, mom who is like breaking apart at the seams, and then just like this possession, like little Tony that lives in his finger and everything, and then all these other like ghosts that are coming around. Like just Danny Lloyd's look as he's like standing there just in a weird kind of like seizure state, or when he's especially on that big wheel, just going around the entire hotel. It's so like there's an unnerving nature to it, even though I totally want the best for that kid. Still, it's just like, I don't know if I could be around that kid though for too long without being like,
Yeah.
nah, this is weird, unsettling. And
Well, I mean,
then,
especially since he has The Shining.
of course,
So,
yes. Yeah, that kid's reading me too well. I don't want him in my mind. And then my number 1 is one from a movie I discussed previously, but is much more kind of like minor. But it's just one especially that like has stuck with me, even though I watched this movie like in my 20s, is like just one of the most weird, garish things. Patau in Phenomena, which this is the kid that shows up during the batshit insane climax of that movie, where Jennifer Connelly is like going through all sorts of horrible shit, like literally in just a giant river of muck, and like going around and seeing like, oh, there's all this evidence of like this woman who initially was like giving me shelter, turns out that she's evil, and then, oh look, there's a sweet innocent boy, I have to turn him around, and he's got that weird fucking fish face, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh damn, what the hell is this thing? And then later on that he tries to attack her and then gets destroyed by her like weird insect powers. It's just like a kid that's really just like stuck with me. I can like picture that kid's face fully like right now, and it's insane that like I watched that movie like maybe 8 years ago and I still can't get that kid's face out of my mind. Just one of the most gnarly and I think underrated creepy kids.
No, that's fair. That is absolutely fair. Karen, how about you?
Okay, so my top 4. Let's start with my top 1 because I love Wednesday Addams. I loved Christina Ricci playing her, and it's just like as a kid, I wanted to be her because it's Wednesday Addams. I mean, come on. The second creepy kid. I mean, she's technically a teenager in this movie, but still teenagers.
I will
can
count
be
anybody
creepy.
who's under 18.
Carrie.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, her powers, like, I wanted to have powers like that. I mean, even though how she was raised was, batshit crazy, but I having telekinesis would have been badass. Number 3, Carol Ann. Carol Ann.
Yeah.
I love Poltergeist. Like I would watch it like religiously once a week because it was one of my favorite movies. And we had it on Laserdisc too. And I just pop that thing in, and my dad's like, "You watching that again?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And he would just let me watch it, sit there and let me watch my Poltergeist movie.
Yeah.
And number 4, I mean, she's very popular. Regan from The Exorcist. It's just my brother and I watched it for the first time in the movie theater when they did a re-release in a movie theater. We've always seen it, because it's always been creepy to us just to watch this young girl's descent into possession and madness and craziness, and poor priests. But yeah, it was like the
All the
first
vomiting.
one. Oh, like my brother took me to go see it. Like, I forget what anniversary it was, and they added some extra scenes that they cut out, and I was like, oh my God, this even makes it even more creepier. But yeah, those are my top 4.
So surprisingly, we have the same fourth. I picked Regan as well because she's a classic. I feel like she's like when you hear the term creepy kid, I feel like almost everybody thinks of her at some point. Like, how can you not?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's an iconic creepy kid who scares the pants off of the adults in the film, and I know regular outside in the real world adults who are like, nah, that kid is creepy. Like, Halloween Horror Nights did the Exorcist house over in Orlando. I know so many adults who are like, nope, I'm not going in there. I got traumatized by Regan. I'm not going in there. I know it's the new girls, but I'm not going in there. They're like, nope, not going to do it. She was my fourth. Abigail was my third because I liked how nobody really knew until it was way too late to do anything about it. And then she just like,
I'm sorry.
She's like, and you're all gonna die. Ta-da. And she just had fun with it. Then my second one and my first one, I feel like they're kind of interchangeable. Like, some days they may reverse and other days they're the way that I'm going to say it. But number 2 is Samara from The Ringo. Because that's just terrifying. Absolutely. You see a ring and then boop, no, that's creepy. Especially the sound. And then Toshi from The Grudge. That poor little kid. But he haunts my dreams sometimes. So his eyes, big eyes. So that's my number 1.
Can I just say, I like both of your lists, but I just want to have a bit of a point, especially about like Carol Ann to Karen's list. I never considered Carol Ann creepy. I always thought she was very cute, and the creepy stuff just happens around her. I never got the sense that she was like really a creepy kid.
No, she's not a creepy kid, but the stuff that happens around her makes her a creepy kid because you're like, are you doing this yourself? Or is something attached to you that's doing it? Or maybe it's your house. I don't know, but it's like the stuff that around her that
Too many
happens
coincidences.
makes her,
right. That
child.
She's not creepy herself, but she attracts creepy, weird stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Which then in turn makes makes her suspicious of her. She becomes sus.
What do you bring into this house?
Like,
5-year-old girl. What the hell's wrong with you?
It's like in Murder, She Wrote. How is it that Angela Lansbury's character, Jessica Fletcher, just happens to be where there's a murder that needs solving?
Well, especially if you get into the sequels. Yeah, right. When you get to the sequels of Poltergeist, where it's like, oh, you guys moved to like various different places, including like a high rise, and you just bring this shit with you.
Yeah. By
the third movie, yeah.
It's like, why would you not just all burn it and buy new stuff, guys? Come on.
It's kind of like, watching Midsummer Murders.
Yeah.
The lead detective's wife, Joyce, always gets into some weird ass trouble. And I'm like, are you actually causing all these murders so your husband can stay employed? Because you're like in the thick of things, lady. Shit happens around you. Go in a bubble. Stop making your husband work so hard.
Now, were there any kids that we did not mention that should get at least a little bit of a nod?
I would have to say the little creepy girl from Silent Hill, the first movie.
Oh,
okay, yeah. I'd be down for that.
Same actress. She played in Case 39, Lily. That was a creepy kid. She plays really creepy kids.
Jodelle Ferland is that actress's name, by the way. Jodelle Ferland.
She plays a lot of creepy kids. She does it well.
Yeah, even and also in Cabin in the Woods, she plays one of the
she does
kids. Yeah, at the Rednecks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take a picture of that board and just study it.
Well, we kind of are planning on doing that.
What? I was not aware of any of those plans.
Yeah, no. more for you guys to anticipate.
Put a pin in that. Yeah.
Yeah. We are planning on exploring the board. I mean,
that's a cool ass board.
There's just too much to talk about on it. Like, I mean, honestly, like, I think you could do probably a year's worth of weekly podcast on that board and that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But any more?
Yeah, I mean, I one that we didn't mention, like especially our early progenitor, but I guess like any version of Turning of the Screw, but specifically like The Innocence, I think is a great example of that, and also just one of my favorite movies of all time, The Others. I think those kids, while they're also like very sweet and like children that like I have so much empathy for, they're real weird, creepy Victorian children.
Yeah, they are.
Right?
Yeah.
Victorian children specifically add like an extra creep factor.
Right.
Now, okay, question for you guys. Child's Play. So Chucky, will we consider that creepy kid or no?
No, that is a child's toy that is possessed by an adult.
That is
I would not, and especially I would not consider Andy at all a creepy kid because that's one of the most adorable kids in the children's in horror. It's just like, oh, so cute. I wouldn't want him to get chased by this doll anymore.
I just know that like some people will go, well, Chucky looks like a kid, and so
I don't know. But the moment you have the Brad,
that's why I'm like, where do you guys sit on it?
Yeah, the moment you have the Brad Dourif like Jersey accent come out, I'm just like, well, fuck you too. I'm like, no, that's not a kid. That's no kid.
Yeah, that's not a kid. That's not a kid. I would have to say, also the kid from Insidious. Like shit happened around him and his dad a lot. I'm like, Dad, this happened to you. You should have been prepared for this shit, idiot.
Yeah. Did we mention the boy?
Kids that we haven't talked about. Oh yeah, that was actually really. It wasn't really a boy, but you know that was a creepy doll child.
Well, yeah.
Thing.
Just to be sure, you're referring to that one, like the one with the little creepy doll.
The one in 2015.
Oh no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the other one. The one where it's like the little kid has like the deer kind of horn. I think that's a very underrated.
Ted Henley.
Very good.
Ted Henley's a character, yes. I think played by Jared.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's a movie that's like very much forgotten at the time. I think that other movie called The Boy sort of stole its thunder, unfortunately.
Yeah,
a very underrated little movie. Yeah.
What was that? There was another movie with a kid. He wasn't really creepy, but he was trying to keep the badness out. I want to say it was Antlers or something.
Oh yeah.
Where his dad and his brother get like possessed by something, and he has to like go out and kill all these animals just to feed them. And I'm like, poor child. You're killing animals to go feed your possessed family. That's kind of creepy. Ask for help from an adult.
Lily from Late Night with the Devil.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I mean, it's possession, but like still the kid, so
it counts for sure.
Yeah. Any other ones?
I feel like we kind of talked about this a bit. We've talked around this, but Let the Right One In has like two for the price of one.
It does.
Like your main kid is very creepy, Oscar, but then also Allie, I think, is also very unnerving. And I think they even managed to carry that over with Let Me In, the remake, which is a pretty solid American remake. But yeah, that's a great example of just like two kind of like, two creepy kids that like find each other. And isn't it adorable? But it's really not. It's really fucking unsettling if you think about it for a millisecond.
Right?
Yeah.
Another one from 2015, Sinister 2, The Assorted of Ghost Children.
I firmly stay more on the Sinister angle of it. I think Sinister 2 was a bit of a disappointment to me.
Yeah, doesn't mean the ghost children weren't creepy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I would have to. I would say Claudia from Interview with the Vampire.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Especially a great early Kiki Dunst performance.
How about the movie Us?
So yeah,
Yes. Honestly, I think the kids don't get enough credit because obviously Lupita is so great in that movie, but
Of
the kids are
course.
very
the kids.
unnerving. Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And then you
Yeah.
have that one child that's very perceptive, and he's looking at, his mom like, I know you're not my real mom, but I'm not going to say anything because everyone would like think I'm crazy.
Right.
yeah.
Right. Any
That
others
was
that you
such.
guys
I
are
need to
thinking
watch
of?
that movie again. I need to watch that movie again. I'm not sure, but I would say the teenagers in It Follows. Poor teenagers can't
Yeah.
have sex. I mean, because if I have sex, I'm going to get cursed by this thing, and I have to keep moving.
What?
Shit happens to
What
me.
one we didn't really talk about, sort of the varietal, is like, especially, this is very specific, but It's Alive, like newborn creepy
Mm-hmm.
kid.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
alive.
Yeah.
It's alive.
Yeah.
I remember.
I
Yeah.
I also think, because even though personally I don't think he is creepy, but I know people who are creeped out by him. But Cole from The Sixth Sense.
Yes, he was. He was.
Oh,
He was a little. Yeah,
Part of it was
yeah.
because the characters themselves thought he was creepy,
but he wasn't creepy.
but he wasn't. Like, but when
No,
you're
yeah,
seeing
I
dead
think
people.
in fairness, yeah, I think the creepier kids are like the ghost kids he sees, like the one in the tent.
Yeah.
That's like one of the scariest like examples of a kid in
Yeah,
a horror
that little
movie. Yeah,
girl.
but Haley Joel, I can't feel creeped out by him, especially with him and Toni Collette, that car scene. Like
Mm-hmm.
I cry too much to like consider that kid creepy. Just like, oh, this
Yeah.
this poor
Like,
misunderstood
I think
child.
us as the audience, I don't think we're supposed to. I think we are
Right.
supposed to feel for the child. But
Mhm.
like, if you were a character in The Sixth Sense,
Yeah.
you would think he was a creepy kid. You'd be like, what's wrong with your child?
Mhm.
Like almost everybody in the movie did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that poor little boy. I
Right?
Oh.
I wanted to hug him and keep him, safe from all the other children because they kept messing with him. Poor
Yeah.
baby.
Mhm.
That poor kid.
Like it, and his mom didn't realize what's going on and all that shit.
Yeah, she's
She,
overworked.
she
She's just
was
overworked.
she was trying, man. She was doing her best.
She's a single mom out there trying to do the best for her kid.
She was. So on
Yes,
that
it
note,
was.
let's go ahead and wrap up tonight. Final thoughts on creepy kids in horror. Thomas, you get to go first.
Yeah, I think it's a very like long-lasting trope for a reason. It's really been a key thing in the horror genre, and I think it's still like it permeates, and sometimes successfully, sometimes doesn't. But yeah, I mean, I'm always down for, especially just a really like weird, and I hope especially we get to see more twists on this stuff, because like we talked about,
Okay.
there's two kind of different categories. I'd like to see
Mm-hmm.
innovations in the creepy
Okay.
kid genre.
That's rock on. Yeah. Karen, how about you?
Yeah, creepy kids is going to be like, an archetype that or a subgenre that is never going to go away,
Mm-hmm.
and we just have to embrace it no matter what. I just like I said, the parents and the crew are responsible to making sure like, these kids aren't being harmed in any way. Thinking of it as this is a game. This is not, this is not real life. This is a game. We don't
Yeah.
we don't have to like, make sure we just want to make sure they're okay. But I enjoy creepy kids. Keep creepy kids movies. Keep them coming. Even if they're not, bad kids or, stuff like that. Just keep them coming because there's a lot of potential for creepy
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah. All kids creep me out, but definitely the ones in horror movies. I just hope that when we use them in films, we are wise about the future of that human being that we are popping into this film, and we are doing the things we can to make sure that down the road they are not traumatized.
Mhm.
But I agree with the sentiment of let's be innovative with it. Let's be creative. Let's find a way to make kids even creepier in horror movies, because I think we can do it. What do
I
you
think
guys
we
think?
can do it. I
Yeah.
mean, we can do it. There's nothing bad about it. We can do it.
Yeah, we're creative enough. But Thomas, thank you for coming on. And our horrorholics, thank you guys so much for sitting with us as we, sit there and talk about those creepy little kids. Creepy kids indoors because they hold up the mirror to everything that we fear about innocence and what we might pass on and so much more. But we know that we might not sleep so well tonight. Thinking about those little kids. Thinking about those little kids. But we love you guys. Thank you so much. You guys are the best listeners and horrorholics in the horror game. We are so grateful for each and every single one of you. And we cannot express how much we love and appreciate your support. Every like, share, subscribe, whatever. It means the world to us. Y'all are the best horrorholics. But Thomas, where can they find more of you?
Yeah, well, thank you so much for inviting me back on. Always a pleasure to be on here. And, if you want more of me, you can find me mainly on Blue Sky and Letterboxd as @NotTheWho'sTommy. And I also have my podcast, Cinema to the Letter. We're at Cinema #2 Letter, wherever, you might find us on social media. And mainly, we just wrapped up on a Star Wars season, which might not be the biggest thing for the horrorholics here. But I should say that coming up, we'll be doing a special Halloween edition of what I call Full Franchise, where we go through every film entry in a franchise, and we'll be talking about as chosen by the patrons. So over at patreon.com/cinema #2 letter, they chose Evil Dead as the whole franchise. So we'll be covering all 6 films in that franchise. It's a big Halloween special in October. And also, as I mentioned, patreon.com/cinema #2 letter. For just $1 a month, you get access to also sorts of bonus stuff, including audio reviews for new movies that patrons get to vote on. Like for August, they recently voted on the Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma, which is one of my most anticipated horror films coming up. Which I'll be talking about that with a guest and all sorts of like backlog bonus stuffs on there. So you can find me on all those places.
Rock on. Karen, where can they find you?
Let's see. Around. I'm just all over the place. I mean, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, formerly known as Twitter, TikTok, Reddit, just around. I'll be at DragonCon.
Yeah, you will.
Come find me.
Yeah. I am Spill Tea. You can find me on all the things at Spill Tea Wine Media Mind. And as Karen said, we will both be at DragonCon this Labor Day weekend on Friday night. Down in the bowels of Hilton, you will find us at 10 p.m. doing a live show. So please stay tuned for more details on that. But we're really excited to do that. And which creepy kid in horror has haunted you the most? We want to hear from you. Drop it in the comments, slide into our DMs, email us at earthstationboo@gmail.com. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, follow, share. It helps other horror fans like you find us. And if you haven't already, please do so. Come and join our conversation in our Discord. You can find all of the links in our link tree, and don't sleep on our merch store. I just updated it. You got a slew of fun things. We've got a bunch of different collections and that include scrunchies and mugs and cups and hoodies and t-shirts and galore. I release episodes every week. And stay weird, stay spooky, our fellow horrorholics. That's a wrap for Earth Station Boo. Thanks for listening. Follow, share, and find all our links in our link tree. Until next time, stay spooky.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping for the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.